So my dad and I bought a piece of property in northern Michigan to use as a base camp for outdoor activities, mainly for fishing. There is a tiny cabin on the property, and we have affectionately given that tiny cabin a name. We call it The Shed. The property is modest and it needs some work, but it is exactly what we were looking for. So how did we get here? Well, let me back up a bit. For almost 2 decades now, my dad and I have been going on annual fishing trips to northern Michigan. You are familiar with some of those trips if you have watched any of the fish camp videos on this channel. So for many years now, we've enjoyed the northern Michigan landscape because the remote wilderness up there is very different from the agricultural and urban landscape of southeast Michigan and northwest Ohio where we live. For example, in our home area, there are many lakes with public access and they present lots of fishing opportunities. However, the vast majority of these lakes are very developed. The shorelines are dotted with docks, boats, and homes, and most of these lakes are busy with recreational boating activities like water skiing, tubing, jet skiing, etc. There's nothing wrong with these activities, and for many people, this is their favorite part of owning a lake home. With that said, however, solitude can be hard to find, especially on weekends, and even more so on holiday weekends. For many years, we have wanted to own a small parcel of land in northern Michigan, not just for inland lake fishing, but also for river fishing, hunting, and just plain old exploring. We wanted something under a 4-hour drive to make the trip worth it for a weekend. We wanted a vacant and wooded lot that was somewhat remote. We wanted something near many lakes and streams and vast acres of public woods. If possible, we wanted to have electric power available, but that would not have been a deal breaker. We simply wanted to be able to leave a camper on the property or to throw up a tiny cabin. What we didn't want was a legitimate home that would require a loan with the bank, yard work, home maintenance, winterization, etc. We just wanted a piece of property where we could sleep at night and enjoy it during the day when we were not in the woods or on the water. If that sounds a lot like camping to you, you are right. It is camping, but doing so on our own property. We know that doesn't sound very appealing to some people, but that was exactly what we were looking for, at least during the current season of life that we find ourselves in. Well, a friend of ours owns such a property in northern Michigan, and recently he was looking to sell it. Now, I am certainly not a stranger to northern Michigan, but I was not at all familiar with the area that his property was located in. So I made a number of trips to his property to check it out, along with the local woods and water. And because the seller was a friend of mine, and because he wasn't in a huge hurry to sell his property, I had numerous opportunities over the course of many months to explore the area before any purchase was made. The first time that I checked out his property, I took my wife with me, and we made a day trip out of it. It is a 4-hour drive each way, so we only spent a few hours up there before heading back home. However, this did give us some time to check out the shed and the parcel of land that it sat on, and I could see that the shed needed some work. The OSB exterior was beginning to deteriorate in a few places, and the system for electric power needed to be improved. However, I thought the property had much potential. My wife, however... There sits my wife, who's not impressed. So a couple months after that, I made a second trip to the property. This time, I took my dad's boat and a friend. The plan was to spend 2 nights at the property and fish a couple of the local lakes. We had a good time, but we also faced some hurdles on that trip. One hurdle was the weather. It was incredibly windy and it rained much of the time that we were up there. Not only that, we were both sick.
So what are you going to catch today, Scott? A cold?
Yeah, well, I already caught that.
So we only got on the water one time, but we did catch some fish and we really liked the lake. And even though we didn't do as much fishing as we would have liked, we did spend a lot of time driving around, scouting out many local lakes in the area. And it was at this point that I knew I was interested in buying the property. Then, a few months after that, I went to my friend's property again, and this time I took my dad with me. At this point, he was also interested in the property, and obviously he wanted to see it. We spent a couple nights there and we had fun. We attempted to find the property boundaries and we did a fair amount of driving around, scouting out numerous lakes and streams in the area. This was spring of 2024, and it was at this point that we decided to buy it. I think it was early May when we closed on the property, and we spent quite a bit of time up there over the summer and early fall. We were able to get some work done on the property, and more importantly, we got in a fair amount of fishing too. Basically, our motto was, let's get some projects done during the day, eat an early dinner, and then go fishing. And we pretty much did that every day that we were up there. So our Northern Michigan base camp was starting to come together. If any of that interests you, be on the lookout for some more videos coming in the near future. I will catch you later.